Mandy Rose says she was told to be less sexy after first WWE main roster call-up. Full in-depth story from Glam to Grind to Glory by Wrestling Angle Newswire. Mandy Rose burst onto the WWE scene. Few could deny her star power. With her striking looks, confident presence, and athletic background, she seemed tailor-made for sports entertainment stardom. But what many fans didn't know is that, behind the scenes, Rose faced unexpected roadblocks, including a surprising directive from WWE officials during her first run on the main roster: be less sexy. Now, years after her rise and departure from the company, Mandy is opening up about the contradiction she faced, being hired for her image, only to be told to tone it down. The rise of a golden goddess, Mandy Rose, real name Amanda first appeared in WWE through Tough Enough in 2015, where her combination of fitness, beauty, and charisma caught the eyes of fans and executives alike. Though she didn't win the competition, WWE signed her to a developmental deal, and she began her journey in NXT soon. She was rebranded as the Golden Goddess, a glamorous, confident, and alluring persona that played up her beauty and strength. Fans noticed, and WWE eventually called her up to the main roster in 2017, pairing her with Sonya Deville and Paige in a group known as Absolution. Everything seemed to be going according to plan, until it wasn't. WWE's backstage concern: tone it down, according to Mandy. Shortly after her debut on the main roster, she was pulled aside backstage and told something that surprised her. They basically said I needed to tone it down, that I was being a little too much with my look in my entrance. Rose shared in a recent interview, "I thought that was the point. That's the character I'd built. But suddenly, it felt like they were uncomfortable with me being me." This directive confused her, especially since WWE had spent years marketing divas and superstars based on their sex appeal during the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression eras. Now, in the middle of WWE's women's evolution, there seemed to be new, undefined rules about how much glamour was too much. "I was never just about looks," Mandy explained. "I've trained hard, worked on my promos, improved in the ring, but for some reason, they wanted to dull the thing that made me stand out." The struggle to find balance, Mandy found herself stuck between two worlds. WWE wanted to present a more athletic, serious women's division, yet she was still being introduced to fans as a glamorous, seductive star. The disconnect made it difficult for her to break into the top tier. "I was constantly adjusting," she said. "One week, it was you're too flashy. The next week, it was we need more character. I didn't know what they really wanted from me." Her pairing with Otis in 2020, which brought a more comedic and romantic side of her character to the forefront, gave her some spotlight. But it still wasn't enough to fully solidify her as a main event star. And then came a turning point, back to NXT, and back in control in 2021. Mandy Rose was quietly sent back to NXT. Many fans thought this was a step backward, a demotion, but Mandy saw it differently. "I saw it as a chance to reinvent myself, and that's exactly what I did." Gone was the blonde hair and glitter. In came a brunette Mandy with a darker, edgier persona. She formed Toxic Attraction, a dominant women's faction, alongside Gigi Dolan and Jacy Jayne. Together, they ruled NXT. More importantly, Mandy embraced every part of her identity: athleticism, beauty, confidence, and attitude. And WWE let her. For the first time in a long time, I was allowed to be me. No filters, no limits. I showed I wasn't just a pretty face. I was a champion. Her NXT Women's title reign lasted an incredible 413 days, making her one of the longest-reigning women's champions in NXT history. The shocking release despite her success. Mandy's WWE run ended abruptly in December 2022, after reports surfaced that WWE had released her due to content she was posting on a private fan time page, content that reportedly included risk photos that WWE deemed outside the parameters of her contract. It was heartbreaking, but also freeing. She later said, "They once told me to tone it down. Then, when I owned my power outside the ring, they cut me off." While her release sparked outrage among fans and conversations about double standards, Mandy chose to walk forward with her head high. life after WWE, building an empire since her release. Mandy Rose has thrived. She has built a successful brand on her own terms, becoming financially independent through exclusive content, fitness coaching, and public appearances. I've never been more in control of my life. No one's telling me how to dress, how to pose, or how to be. Final thoughts. More than a pretty face, Mandy Rose's story is more than just another wrestling tale. It's about identity, control, and reinvention. From being told to be less sexy to redefining what it means to be a strong woman in sports entertainment, Mandy refused to let anyone box her in. At the end of the day, I'm proud of who I am, and no one can take that away. Her journey serves as a reminder to fans and future stars alike. You can be powerful and beautiful, sexy and strong, and sometimes the most defiant thing you can do is to simply be yourself.